This is Midnight Driver again. I just want to start out this video by saying thank you to my very first subscriber, Attack on Atlantis. Very kind of you to subscribe. Hope you stay subscribed. You know, my videos probably aren't particularly interesting or anything like that. I just, again, like I stated before, just like to speak my mind. And I'm not going to become one of those YouTubers who's always like, oh, you know, like, subscribe, share, da-da-da. If you want to like, leave a like. If you want to subscribe. Up to you. Not particularly a, big thing of mine to look out for that. But I think what I wanted to talk about today was how life has a really impressive way of subverting one's expectations of itself. We should all consider ourselves so lucky. I was driving around today, and I'm in South Florida at the moment. And if some of you know about the wildfire that's happening in the Keys, it's a very terrible thing. Very, very terrible thing. Me and my lady, we were very kindly driving around, enjoying it out in the town, as couples tend to do, when we noticed the thick smoke rolling in over the horizon. And that's when we remembered, oh yeah, that's right, the Keys are on fire. That's people's livelihoods out there. That's people's way of life. People have homes out there. Animals that live out in those forests. Very rare species. It's Keys. It's an incredibly unique ecosystem, and it's a horrible thing all around that these wildfires are ravaging it. And I know that the fire departments out here are doing the best that they possibly can to quell those fires. I don't know how far along that they've gotten, but there were some people that couldn't go back home for a while because the Keys were entirely locked out. It's moments like this when I think of how life subverts expectations. Just when you think you have it bad, there's always someone else out there that's having a significantly worse day than you. I always like to think about the job that I do at work. I always think about the performance that I put out. And I always think about how, sometimes I might not be able to make it, but then I step back and I think when tragedies like this happen, I don't nearly have it as bad, and that I know that the path ahead of me is so much farther expanded out. But also B, there's people out there who have it way worse right now. There's woods that were caught on fire, people's properties were damaged. It's a horrible thing all around. And when you see, if there's any pictures online of that smoke, me and my lady, we were driving along and the sun was setting, but the smoke was so thick, it basically blotted out the sun. That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. And, it's in moments like this where I think I really got to stop complaining. I have it so good. I have it so good. And, imagine if that was any of us right now. And if we consider the California fires that happened as well very recently. Imagine if that was any one of us. We think we have a bad day at work, or we think we see like something nasty online, someone sends us some nasty messages, something that sends our day down a rabbit hole. But also, it's an event that just happens in a day. The next day is a fresh day. The next day is a very fresh day. But these people who are hurt by these wildfires, the poor creatures who have to escape away from these fires, and those firefighters who put their lives on the line trying to put and control, the blazes. There's irreparable damage done there. There's people who can't get things back. And it's very humbling. And at the same time, it's in moments like these that I believe we need to put our way kind of our own thoughts on the day and think about how we as people need to help each other out. Life subverts our expectations in a way that is both incredible and terrifying. I personally recently went through a little debacle at work. Something almost fell through into a horrible mess, but I put it through the right channels, and my supervisors and managers helped me out, and we got the problem solved. This thing that I mentioned, I had studied on. It was something that was supposed to be just so easy. And I made sure that when I went into the workplace that day, it was supposed to go off without a hitch. But again, life subverts our expectations, and it couldn't have gone any worse. But it's not like it couldn't be solved. That was a very small blip in my day, in the week, in the month, and what is to be an even smaller blip in this year and the years to come. We can't let small moments like that, hold us back and chew at us, right? We can't. Because we could have been those people in the wildfires. We could have been the people that have suffered all that property damage, all that irreparable loss. It's moments in like these that I like to take a step back and view my position in the world once again. I think about how good I have it with all the people that love me and surround me. Life really is an incredible thing. It really, really is an incredible thing. Now, I don't want this channel to be, all just sad talk and, talk about anxiety and depression. And, I'll post videos about that. I'm not saying it's not a subject worth talking about. I'm just saying, for as much bleakness in the world that there is, there's also much joy. I mean, look, recently, the astronauts got rescued. What a wonderful thing to happen. I personally would have probably very much lost my mind being stuck up in space. That's not an idea I can even fathom. That really isn't. A lot of us, I think, since we're kind of boots on the ground here on Earth, trying to live our day-to-day lives and make ends meet, very small things can send us over the edge. And it's not like our problems aren't valid. Our problems are very, very valid. But at the same time, if you look at the grand scheme of things, the scope of them compared to the scope of so many others who have suffered, they're very small. And letting things like that hold us back is, I don't think, a good thing. When you lock up, you can't think. It's a very hard thing to think in those moments. I'm about to drive through some sprinklers. I am. Yep, hold on. Sorry. Sorry. Wet windshield. Oh God, there's streaks on my windshield. I need to clean that. Sorry. But, yeah. But, yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to talk about life subverting expectations. You know, that issue at my workplace got solved. You know, life subverted expectations to me by saying, hey, you thought this was going to be easy, but au contraire, how there's people that have it worse. Just when you think something might be easy, I think you immediately jinx yourself. But I guess that's part of the human experience. I guess that really is part of the human experience when it comes to these kinds of things. My wonderful mother, my wonderful, very wise mother, she had a saying for these kinds of things. You know, take a bunch of the people that you know, okay, and stand them in a circle. Stand them in a circle. And what you do in this circle is you want to basically take all your problems manifest and throw them into the circle. And when you see not only your problems, but the problems that other people have, I guarantee you will very quickly want to take your problems back. And when you think about it, it tends to be very true. It tends to be very true. I like to listen to the stories that people tell me about their ongoings in day-to-day lives. I like to listen to stories about my coworkers and the fun times that they have with their children. And I hear some dark things as well. Dark things that, you know, it's not my business to share. Man, you can really smell that smoke from the keys right now. That is intense. I can't imagine how thick it must be when actually being there. Looking at this camera feed right now, I'm really gonna have to clean my windshield. God, that is awful. Yeah, that's bothering me. Sorry for the rant. Back on track. Yeah, you know, every once in a while, talk to your fellow man or woman or whoever. Talk to them. Listen to their stories. One thing that I've always tried to be as a person is someone who listens more than they speaks. I try to be an observer. And I think that when you listen more than you speak, you start to learn a lot about not only the world and the people around you. It opens up your eyes to many, many truths, many wonderful ones, and at the same time, many ugly ones. Many ugly ones indeed. But again, such is the human experience. Oh, goodness gracious. I know I like to ramble. I'm a rambling man. But at the same time, when I do these video diaries, I guess I could call them, it makes me feel like I'm talking to someone. Makes me feel like I'm being heard, being listened to. The nighttime really, again, helps me unwind, and putting it to video really gives me room to think. But yeah, you know, I guess that's how I'm gonna end this video. Don't let the day-to-day experiences, you know, ruin your view on life, and let them lock you up. Take a deep breath, take a step back, and try and go into each day refreshed. Try and go into each day with a clear mind. Put all your problems behind you. They're water under the bridge. They are water under the bridge. Now, I obviously can't speak for everyone. I don't know what issues you have going on in your lives. Whether they're big, whether they're small. That's not my place to judge. But greet each day with open arms. Greet each person with love and respect. And just think, your life is very vivid, and so is the life of every person you meet out on the street. We don't know what they've gone through. We don't know what they've been up to. But I guarantee that if you stop and take some time to talk to your fellow man, life will subvert your expectations, and you will very quickly be humbled. Be an observer. Be less of a speaker. After all, we listen with our ears and view with our eyes. We don't learn with our mouth. The mouth is for speaking. But take this stuff and learn from it. See what you can gather, see what you can garner, see what truths you can grab. Because I guarantee you'll find very, very interesting things in day-to-day life. I'm going to leave this video with one last footnote. Something that my very wonderful, wise father has always told me. Learn something every day. Whether it's big, whether it's small. Learn something. Learn something that you find interesting and increase your overall knowledge of the world. Help yourself become a better observer. This is Midnight Driver, signing off for the second chapter in Midnight Driver Diaries.